Then you must be General Baylan Skoll of the Jedi Order.
Baylan Skoll makes some unusual conclusions about himself and his Padawan, Shin Hati, in Ahsoka Episode 7. Baylan's character is one of the most interesting in the series since his real loyalty and intentions are unknown. However, there have been several hints dropped by him throughout the program that function as jigsaw pieces. While Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka deal with Thrawn soldiers, Baylan discreetly slips away from the fray. Baylan is free to follow what has been calling to him now that he has separated from Shin and is no longer on Thrawn's radar. Baylan has been winging his strategy and altering it according to the circumstances since arriving on Prydia. The legend surrounding Prydia, on the other hand, hasn't changed. Baylan knows something about this new planet and galaxy that hasn't been told to the audience yet. Baylan informs Shin in Ahsoka Episode 6 that he is tired of the transitory power struggle between the New Republic and the resurgent Empire. Baylan's encounter with Order 66 inspired him to rise above the coming battle. Baylan seeks the beginning of the cycle rather than simply being on the winning side of the conflict. Baylan is seeking something greater than the Jedi or Sith. In Ahsoka Episode 6, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati keep an eye on Prydia. Baylan clearly intends to harness or uncover something far greater than what Jedi and Sith want. Jedi seek enlightenment in order to better defend those around them. Meanwhile, Sith are always pushing the boundaries of their skills in order to grow more powerful. And since Jedi and Sith use opposite tactics to achieve their goals, they are constantly in conflict with one another. According to Baylan, Anakin's purge of the Jedi Temple and the creation of the Empire were unavoidable. So, although Shin is lured by the power Thrawn promises, Baylan sees only death and devastation along that road. Baylan departs from Shin in Ahsoka Episode 7 and informs her that his path differs from Thrawn's. This is an unusual move. Until now, he seemed to have had lofty ambitions for his Padawan. Nonetheless, he abruptly chooses to forsake her in order to pursue the folktales that motivate him. Either he is intrigued by the truth behind the old children's stories he heard in the temple, or the thing he seeks has seized and overwhelmed him. In any event, Baylan has officially joined Thrawn's game against Ezra, Ahsoka, and Sabine. The best theories about what Baylan is really doing in Star Wars. Legends Ahsoka Abeloth Star Wars Legends contains the most popular and widely accepted explanation for what Baylan desires. Abeloth, the bringer of chaos, was formerly one of Star Wars' most formidable dark side beings. Abeloth was so strong that the Heavenly Mortis Force wielders from the Clone Wars exiled him to a black hole. Unlike most other Star Wars showrunners, Dave Filoni is not afraid to use Legends material for new content. He previously brought Thrawn back in Star Wars Rebels, and he may be preparing to bring Abeloth back in Ahsoka. If not Abeloth, there are other possibilities as to who or what Baylan is looking for. Filoni might be pulling history from the Star Wars Jedi games and adding the Zepho, ancient entities alluded to in Ahsoka Episode 6, to live action. Filoni may possibly bring back the Malmoral, an ancient Night Sister beast mentioned in Season 6 of the Clone Wars. Baylan may also wish to eliminate the Skywalker heritage and retaliation for Anakin's destruction of the temple. Why is Baylan keeping his true plan from Grand Admiral Thrawn? In Ahsoka Episode 7, Grand Admiral Thrawn discovers Ahsoka is Anakin's apprentice.
The master was General Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
Whatever Baylan desires from Prydia, he certainly does not want Thrawn to know. Until now, he's obediently served as Thrawn's pawn, well aware that Thrawn would dismiss him if he jeopardized Thrawn's escape. He'd been waiting for the right opportunity to stow away from the action, and Ahsoka Episode 7 finally provided it. Even though he briefly confronts Ahsoka again, she flees and snatches his mount. He should be sad that he is now trapped, but in truth, he is exactly where he wants to be. He moves in the opposite direction as Ahsoka and goes in search of what he's looking for. Baylan is not only aware that Thrawn does not see him favorably, but he is also uninterested in joining Thrawn's government in the first place. He's previously told Shin that the power Thrawn craves is ephemeral. Baylan may be one of the few individuals who understands why Thrawn wants to return to his home galaxy in the first place. Thrawn isn't the true evil in Ahsoka, and he suspects Thrawn and the Great Mothers are escaping something else on Prydia. While Thrawn is plainly not interested in awakening the power that Prydia possesses, Baylan believes he's the one to do so. Why doesn't Baylan require Shin for his Ahsoka scheme? Dark Force power image. Baylan Skoll and Prydia parting ways with Shin in Ahsoka Episode 7 was one of Baylan's most perplexing steps in his plot. However, that was maybe the most kind thing he could have done for her. He's attempted to pique her interest in the ancient folktales about Prydia's forgotten might, but she appears indifferent. In Ahsoka Episode 6, she reminds him that sometimes stories are just stories, and is more concerned about their alliance with Thrawn. Despite Baylan's efforts attempts to convince her that there is more to life than power struggles, she is unable to grasp the lesson he is attempting to impart. It's not so much that Baylan doesn't require Shin for his plan, as he realizes dragging her along isn't what she wants. He informs her as they split that her desire for power is leading her down a different path than his. She desires to be a part of Thrawn's empire because it promises instant triumph. Meanwhile, Baylan is attempting to break the cycle by awakening the power hiding in Paridia. Nonetheless, he takes advantage of Shin's desire by having her carry out Thrawn's commands in his absence. A satisfying resolution to Baylan's plan is required for Ahsoka's finale. In Ahsoka Episode 7, Baylan Skoll witnesses Shin Hati pursuing Sabine and Ezra. The Ahsoka finale has a lot of loose ends to tie up, the most important of which is the resolution of Baylan's scheme. He's played an important role in the story since the beginning, and the last episode must completely explain his activities. Whatever person Baylan is looking for, he must discover it in the conclusion, not just to deliver a fitting finish to his Ahsoka series role, but also to honor the late Ray Stevenson and his beloved character.